Tonight I am feeling for you under the state of a strange land. You have sacrificed much to be here, therefore the graces I offer my hand. So welcome home, I bid you I bid you welcome, welcome home, from the bottom of my heart.
Welcome to today's session. This is Sharon.
Hello.
Hello, it's going to be good. Now, we weren't quite sure how we're going to start this, but Sharon said you could probably do 10 minutes, didn't you?
Yeah, definitely.
And then when we looked at your story last night, we thought maybe 2 sessions. So somewhere between 10 minutes and two sessions. Yeah. So we're aiming for somewhere in there. Now, Sharon's interesting because the internet stuff and all this, putting things out on the internet, Sharon managed to build a relationship with us through watching the videos, watching the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of weird.
Kind of. So when we met her, I don't know, how many years were you watching the vids for before we actually met? Since they started.
Oh, really?
Yep.
So, good couple of years.
Yeah.
I'm hopeless for dates. So,
yeah.
Yeah, so then when we finally did meet Sharon, she goes, I know you guys. And I thought, oh, yeah. That's cool.
I did, and I felt like I did from the videos, but I had also met you both
Ages
separately.
Ago. Oh, really?
Yeah, in the early days.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh.
I think I met you at the dry cleaning place.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Deb
God.
came to the door, I think, one day when I was staying at Rosie and Patrick's.
So, so you had actually.
I had actually met you,
Yeah.
but yeah.
But now that you're here and you've been here for a couple of weeks and and now that you met us in
A week.
A week. Is it a week?
Tomorrow.
A week tomorrow.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy the video relationship with us more than the real one? Is the real one not so flash?
There's a bit of pressure to get behind the microphone.
Yes, there was. Yeah.
That's all.
Okay.
The rest of it's been fun.
Best of it's
so
been
far.
good. Yeah. So we're going to do Sharon's journey into the day. Now this is exciting for me because I don't know your story. We had a little chat last night. We got some things, but I do not know 90% of the detail. So I know we have an interested audience of one at least, but I know that there's heaps of others. I got a text from someone today from Christchurch going, can't wait to hear Sharon's story. So no pressure.
None.
So
None whatsoever.
if we're doing it and it's not exciting, just add some stuff to it. Beef it
okay.
up. Just beef
Yeah,
it up a
all
little
right.
bit. The time you met Elvis.
Yeah, that might not do it.
All right. Now, Sharon, okay, we'll start at the beginning. Give us a little bit of idea who you are, where you're from, why you're from, where you're from, all that sort of stuff.
I could go down the J Now line.
Could
I'm
do.
Sharon.
Yeah.
I come from heaven.
You could do. That'd be quite
My
cool.
father is God. But my earthly father and my earthly parents, I was born in Christchurch,
All right.
and they raised me in a Baptist church.
Okay.
Me and my 3 sisters,
Yeah.
and Rosie and Patrick are probably responsible for me becoming involved, watching the videos and
Watching the
things.
vids, yeah. So, early memories, church, you're into it?
Yeah. I don't specifically remember when I made a decision,
Yeah.
because I made a couple,
Yeah.
as you do when you're a teenager.
Yeah, it's got to stick something.
And
Okay, so teenage years.
yeah, in my teenage years. and at that point was probably making them for the wrong reasons, for like my friends to
Oh, really?
make sure they'd become Christians and
Okay.
things like that.
Yeah.
But it did get serious, and I, after I'd left school, I had a friend who went to a Pentecostal church, the Apostolic Church in Christchurch.
Oh, yeah.
And she took me along there a few times.
Oh, so you hadn't seen anything like that before that?
No, but I had always felt there was more, and she, than just what the Baptist church was presenting and everything. So, I got loosely involved in that. And my cousin's church.
Well, you sneak along on a Sunday night or something?
Yeah, she'd come and retrieve me.
Heaps of people. Well, so what years was that? Is that like early 80s?
No, this would have been 70s.
On the 70s?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Because I got saved in 79 in Christchurch.
Right,
There was quite a move of the Spirit.
Yes, there was, and there had been. And in fact, the church that my cousin went to, and with my aunt and the rest of her family, Rickerton Baptist, had a move of the Spirit.
Yeah.
And
He was everywhere.
he was all over the place, but I don't think he was particularly close to Colombo Street, but some of the older youth group leaders were
Okay, yeah.
had a touch from the Lord, so yeah.
Deb's cousin ended up pastoring there later.
Yes, I know, Darcy.
Crazy, eh? What a small world.
It is. Right, after that, yes, so I knew there was something more in the Spirit, and I was going to Youth for Christ rallies and things, and involved on the periphery of a couple of churches.
While still going to normal...
Basically still hanging around with the old youth group and that.
So anybody else in the family, any of your sisters getting involved in stuff like that, and the Holy Ghost stuff?
Because there's 3 years between me and Rosie, and then the other two came close on her tail.
Yeah. Quite a distance, eh?
Yeah, it's like a separate life, really.
Yeah.
And I'm quite amazed when I'm listening to her talking now about the things that she did, where I was around, supposedly, but not really paying any attention to what was going on. Yeah.
Crazy, eh?
Yeah.
Because when you're that age, you tend to get busy doing your thing. Oh, that's cool. And Mum and Dad, they were super happy about this sort of stuff?
I think, like the rest of the church, Dad didn't understand it and didn't think it was necessary.
Okay. Because,
Yeah. So and I know that the last minister they had, that when we were there, kind of thought it wasn't necessary either, but felt he could handle it if it came up. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
So, like, did you have like an encounter? Was it slow, or did you actually have a specific encounter with the Holy Ghost?
I haven't had a specific encounter that. Not quite true. I've had some small encounters along the road, which have been enough to tide me over.
No, you're easy for the Lord. You don't need much. He just does a little bit, and you're finished.
I'm happy.
So you didn't have a big wham, bam, boom.
No, I'm waiting for that.
Well, that's probably coming down the track somewhere.
Yeah, hopefully.
Okay, but there was enough going on that you were super interested.
Yes, yeah. And I was picking up and reading books about the move of the Spirit and everything, and moved. It's hard to get the timelines
Just
right
as long
here.
as it's roughly right.
Or on the spiritual side, things moved more when I moved to Auckland.
Okay.
But there's a bit to go on in between.
Oh, dear. Okay.
Yeah. So after I left school, I was running around with the youth group, as I said, and got my first boyfriend.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
It was an oh dear in the end. For some reason, I'd been working in a supermarket for a couple of years, and I decided I was going to join the army.
course.
So
That's what most supermarket
yeah,
workers do.
yeah,
Yeah.
from one extreme to the other kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
From tins to tanks.
yes,
Yeah. Good.
yeah. Didn't even make it through basic training
What?
because there was a youth group camp the weekend before I left,
Yeah.
and the fond farewell got a bit too fond, and I became pregnant.
No. Oh
Yes.
dear.
Yeah,
That was a fond farewell.
rather too fond.
Yeah.
Yes.
And did you know pretty early?
I was pretty sure, and then,
goodness.
so they confirmed it obviously at the while I was the army doctor confirmed it and rang mum and dad and said
Oh, so
we're going to send her home.
Oh my God! So that was the first confirmation. Oh dear. So all of a sudden, your little life has exploded.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you take control and you think you know what you're doing.
Oh my God. So that's like the first major event. Hey.
Well, apart from mum dying, I guess, when I was 8, which I haven't even mentioned.
Oh, I was going to say you haven't even mentioned your mum. Yeah. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? Because that's like, you don't have to say anything more than you want to, but that's like a significant event in anyone.
It is, yes. And I think it was more significant for me because I not only lost mum, but I lost dad as the father figure. And so it only came to me overnight that I'd been tracking down. I mean, I knew on one level that I was looking for somebody to father me.
Yeah. So that explains what's been going on.
Yeah.
So it puts it all in context. Because like 8 years old, you're not ready for that.
Certainly not. And part of me got left back there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which we dealt with more recently.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's like on the list of traumatic events, 8-year-old kid loses a mum. Yeah, that's a world changer.
Yeah. I'm told that I spent a lot of time lying on my bed.
Yeah.
So I've always had a fondness for bed.
Have you got sort of, was it all a bit of a haze? Or was there like specific things that stand out?
The main thing that stands out for me is that the police came in the evening to tell Dad that she'd passed away. And I was awake and heard them knock at the door. And above my bed, if I stood on my bed, I could see out a little window that looked at the front door, basically. And so I heard and saw what was going on. And then I heard Dad come in and tell my grandmother, who was sleeping in Rosie's bed in the same room as me. Yeah. So, yes, and I knew I shouldn't have been awake, so I was pretending to be asleep when he came in. But, yeah, still heard the whole thing. And so I knew before the others.
Yeah, and they're like, they even understand, were they 5, 3 and
2?
2?
2, yeah. No, she didn't understand at all. No. She just...
And there's your dad, 4 girls.
Exactly.
Wow. So everyone's life's upside down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you guys stayed in that house and in Christchurch?
We did, yes. One of the ladies from church came and became the housekeeper after a series of hired ones.
Yeah.
And she would work Monday to Friday and then go home for the weekend. And Dad would take care of
having
us.
a strange lady in the house was weird?
No, she was really kind, and because she knew Mum from church, Mum had been kind to her, and so she was giving back. And
wasn't super weird.
No, I'm not sure that we actually knew her very well before she arrived. Yeah. But in the end, Dad married her, and
oh wow,
yeah, and
I'm not sure I knew that.
No, you might not have actually, because I hadn't. Rosie didn't mention it.
Oh,
yeah,
well, I'm learning.
So she became stepmom.
Oh wow. Oh, there you go. I am learning stuff already. Well, I've already learned a few things. That's cool.
Yes.
So that's all that, and then it's just normal life.
Normal life again, although with the usual teenage histrionics.
How long after your mum died did your dad remarry?
Might have been 3 years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's sort of put things back on a bit more of a level keel.
Yeah, and I remember running around to tell the neighbour, Mrs. Dixon, because, you know, we were quite happy about it. So,
Yeah.
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 Well, that's my memory of it.
Well, that's the only one. That's the only
It's
one.
the only one I can speak for.
It's the only one we're interested in.
Yeah.
Oh wow! And I have questions, but I'll hold back on that. And then, so you do all that. We get up back onto your story. You go to join the army, but whoops.
But whoops, yeah.
Yeah. And then what happened?
So baby arrived in due course, and she was adopted out because Mum would have taken her because she couldn't have children.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
she and Dad didn't have children, or they decided not to. I'm not
So
sure
that
what
was
it
an
was.
option.
Yeah. But I didn't really want that for... I didn't want to put that on Mum.
Yeah.
So, or Dad for that
So
matter.
how old were you at that stage?
I was
Just roughly
18.
18. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so your plan for the future's blown up in smoke. Now you got to reinvent yourself.
Yeah, so I changed jobs shortly after that.
Yeah.
After the adoption had gone through, I found a job working in a share registry, which is basically
What you're still doing.
set the path that I'm still on.
Yeah.
Although the job itself has changed many times.
Yeah. And then the family moves. Did you all go up to?
No, just me.
Just you went up.
Yeah. I must have been a brave little girl at that stage. I was 21, 23 or something
Yeah.
at that stage.
So what was that? Was a job move?
It was in the end, yes. Yeah. Because I'd moved from a share registry to a share brokers, and then the share registry opened an office in Auckland. Well, they took over the register of a company in Auckland called Progressive Enterprises, which was the old food town.
Oh, okay.
Stuff.
Yeah.
And so I went up there to look after the register for them and manage me and the receptionist,
Yeah.
the office.
So big challenges.
Yeah.
So what's happening spiritually at that stage? Like how
Not a lot.
how
'cause
did having the baby, did that knock you back, or how did you deal with that?
didn't basically.
Didn't knock you back, no.
I didn't notice if it knocked me back.
Yeah.
I was ashamed.
Yeah.
There was a big shame burden.
Yeah, of course there was.
But apart from that, I just kept going forward.
So how'd you deal with that? You just kept on trucking.
Yeah. And then had a flatmate. She decided she was moving back down to the South Island because she came from Timaru.
Yeah.
And Rosie moved up.
Okay, your sister, yeah.
Yeah. So she ended up flatting with me, and I knew I was going back to church at that point.
Yeah.
So we both ended up at Glenfield Baptist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's just round
then
the
things got a bit more serious.
Okay, so you
yeah.
got involved big time in there?
Yes, yeah, we were singing in the
Okay.
up the front and involved in the not in the youth group, but we started some friends I made there.
Yeah.
Were starting up an outreach at the mall on the Saturday nights, and we ran it from the community centre, which was just across the road. And got involved in that and did that for a few years as well.
As far as like the whole charismatic Pentecostal thing, where was that church? Had that been
Yes,
caught up and all that?
yes, yeah.
And it was reasonably lively, was it?
It was, yeah.
Yeah. So what's happening with you at this stage? Like you're obviously into the Lord.
Yeah.
How's that look personally?
Personally, it's like I still didn't know that it was possible to have a relationship with
so
him.
You're not really hearing from the Lord a lot.
Not a lot, but enough to keep me on track.
What
Yeah.
about his sensing his presence and that during the worship and all that sort of stuff?
Yes, sometimes I used to get
Yeah.
visible
Yeah.
vibrations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes feeling heat if you were
Yeah.
praying for someone.
All the classics.
All the classics, yes.
But mainly in meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna be nosy. You don't have to answer these questions, but like your own, say, prayer life with the Lord. Did you develop a prayer life with the Lord?
I did.
And that look like
I had a prayer list. I found an old journal and I had a list for every day. And funnily enough,
yeah,
Alex, my husband,
yeah,
that I hadn't met yet, but
was on the list.
he was on the list after after he'd come to the community centre and drop in and just weird. I had been praying for him every day for a year, and then
Oh wow! So you were like pretty faithful with what you were doing.
yes, yeah.
And so like your prayer life was really, a lot of it was praying for others.
Yeah, we got very involved in the lives of the people who were coming to the drop-in.
Drop-in centre.
Yeah, so we would take the kids out on Saturdays and Sundays and
Okay.
take them to church, and Glenfield put up with a lot.
So these are basically street kids and stuff.
Yeah. So they used to walk in and out of the church doors with their swinging.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
So you did that for a while.
That was for a few years. Yeah. I can't remember how many.
So Rosie's still there. You still got your job.
Yep. And then we stopped the community the group doing the drop-in sort of broke off and moved to Meadowwood Community Centre and had their own storehouse.
So it became its own little fellowship.
Yes, which
it would have been cool.
Which is where Patrick came.
Oh, okay.
Into the picture.
So it wasn't all good.
So he just arrived as I was leaving to go to Wellington. Yeah.
So you're off to Wellington?
I'm off to Wellington. I had been working for I'd worked for a share broker, came back to the share registry, moved to a share broker.
Yeah.
And then went to the Baptist Union.
Oh, yeah.
I got made redundant after the big... the big 80...
The big crash.
Yeah, 85 or whatever it was.
Interest rates went crazy.
They did, yes.
People lost houses. It was good times.
Yeah. I was sort of one of the last lot to be left.
Okay.
To let go, but my position changed in the firm and it wasn't on a very good trajectory, so I...
Oh, yeah. So you were basically sort of squeezed out.
Yeah. Understandable. And I wasn't really happy. It came across in what I was doing.
Yeah.
And so from there I went to the Baptist Union. I was there for a few years. I did a YWAM Children in Need School.
Yeah.
And after that decided it was time to get back and start earning some proper money, and found another job at another share brokers.
Yeah.
But in the accounts department, which was totally different from me.
And so what's happening with you with your own personal life at that stage?
What is happening with me then?
What's happening with Alex and stuff? Is that happening then or
No.
And spiritually it's like plateaued off, or was it on
spiritually it was kind of on a plateau.
Yeah.
Actually, it was starting to happen with Alex.
Oh, yeah.
We tried to keep it under the radar for a while.
Yeah.
And understandably, people were worried about it because we were very different people.
Yeah.
Very different upbringings and a largish age gap, I suppose.
So when did you become aware that there was something was going on with you guys? Trying to work out how you operate, trying to tick behind the scenes and see what makes you tick.
I think I don't know, I just felt a particular kindness towards him.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that's cool.
when you looked in his eyes, you could see that he was genuine.
Yeah.
So I probably didn't really think too much about being involved with him until he invited me to the first birthday of one of his friend's sons.
Yeah.
And at that, we happened to dance, and there was like an electric moment.
Oh, really?
Right. We touched, and it was like, whoa.
Yeah. So you weren't expecting that?
No, it was like being blown out of the water.
Wow.
And what does this mean?
Yeah.
And I think it was for us, it was a foregone conclusion after that. But
Oh, so he felt it as well. Oh, that's cool.
yeah, weird though. Anyway.
You think, well, it must be the Lord, because it probably wouldn't have happened otherwise, would it?
No, I don't think it would have.
Yeah.
I would have listened to other voices, and they would have. So
The other voices are so good. Advice is readily available.
yeah.
From yourself or from others.
From others mainly.
Yeah.
And some of them were warning me that's not the person for you, and I thought, well, you don't know. So yeah.
So you're pretty independent by now, you think?
Yeah, I think so. And I
You
was
struck out on your own.
playing my cards pretty close to my chest as well.
Yeah, because you had to walk through a bit already.
Yes, and I had some healing during that time for things like the baby and the shame and all that and other things that had happened. Yeah. And so at this point I'm then moving to Wellington.
Yeah.
And going to work for the company that actually produced the product that I was using at the share brokers.
Okay.
And because I had a fairly good understanding, having used it
From the other side.
from the other side, yes, and in many areas, they decided I was the person they wanted to employ, and so I moved to Wellington and became their rep down there.
You were just looking for jobs at that time after all the drama, with the time to change jobs, etc. And you just were scanning, like you didn't really mind where you went. Did you want to stay in Auckland at that point?
I probably would have, but the job was in Wellington, so
You just saw it
for
in the
me,
paper or something?
yeah, it was in. I can't even remember how I got onto it. I don't know whether the person who'd placed me at the brokers had
Okay, so like an employment
had
agency.
come back to me and said, "Hey, listen, we've got this," or whether I heard about it from somebody else. I'm not really sure.
And then you're in Wellington.
And then I was in Wellington.
Starting again. Got to find a flat.
Yep. Yeah, spent about a month in a hotel and listened to the skateboarders going up and down the road all night.
Relaxing.
Yeah, very relaxing.
Is your dad still alive at this stage?
Yes, but this is about the point that I was there in Wellington when he died, but Alex was also with me.
Alex was with you then?
He arrived after the first 6 months of being there.
Okay.
I didn't want him to come down because I thought it was important for him, for how he behaved while I wasn't there in Auckland. And it was important for other people to see how he behaved when I wasn't there.
Without your influence,
Yeah.
Okay.
And I knew that, some part of me knew that was
and you guys
important for both of us.
You guys are getting pretty serious by this stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he moved down. He had a friend Alec in Wellington at that point, and he basically lived with me.
Yeah.
So we weren't really going to church. We dabbled with the AOG, but didn't really take.
Yeah.
And we ended up getting married.
In Wellington.
Well, we got married in Auckland.
Of course. Why make it easy?
Well, exactly, but that's where all the friends were and everything. It was easier for most. There were less people who
had to
to
travel.
move to
Yeah.
Auckland.
And your dad and your sisters are still on Christchurch.
Yes, yeah. So they all travelled up for it as well.
Dad was excited about the wedding.
I'm not sure about that because he said to me at one
Because
stage.
you're keeping things pretty close. He's not. How much does he know about what you're up to?
Well, they'd met Alex,
Yeah.
and I think they'd got on reasonably well.
Yeah.
Alex had a way of charming people, not just because of who he was naturally. Friendly, outgoing, and what you see isn't what you get with Alex. So, so the looks sort of belied the heart behind the person.
Big heart.
Big heart.
Yeah. That's what you liked.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I learnt a lot from him.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, now we got you married.
Yep.
Living in Wellington.
Living in Wellington.
Nearly going to AOG, but not quite.
Yeah. And at one point, I didn't understand the relationship that Alex had with God himself.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
He had a proper relationship, and I didn't know what that was.
Yeah. So he was hearing and waiting and...
He would be talking.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that. He didn't explain.
Yeah.
I don't know that he had the words to explain. And at one point I told him to get back to the real world. And because,
Yeah.
and he thought I knew better because I had more education than him. So he
had some sort of organic relationship with...
He did.
He just got by grace.
Yes,
And
basically.
You say it's not the right way.
Yeah, and he said, I don't know. I don't know why he didn't leave me then.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he stuck around and took a while.
Yeah.
But eventually we got on the same page.
That's cool.
And then he'd be downloading directly.
Yeah.
And I'd be searching the scriptures. And, yeah.
But it worked.
It worked,
Combo. Okay. So how many years were you guys in Wellington for?
We were there 4 years.
Okay.
And then the firm I was working for, the Auckland representative she moved.
Okay.
And so they moved me back to Auckland. There were fewer clients in Wellington.
So you guys didn't really settle on a church home?
No, and we dabbled with a few when we first got there, and then we just, possibly because of what I'd said to Alex, he just didn't pursue it.
Yeah.
And so for a long time, we were unchurched.
Yeah.
And then I guess there were things going on. Alex's health was deteriorating a little bit.
Started to get bad by then?
Yeah, it was bad in that it affected his ability to work.
Yeah.
And after he stopped working.
Because he had more than one thing wrong, didn't he?
Yeah. It was his heart and it was his kidneys and diabetes that didn't help. And doctors that overprescribed stuff to him.
So by the time you left Wellington, he was already starting to go downhill.
He had been diagnosed as a diabetic in Wellington. Yeah.
Okay.
So we tried to manage it with just food and pills, but he eventually had to go onto insulin, and that's probably a bit where the beginning of the end started.
Yeah. Okay. Sunny days. Sunny days.
Yeah. We had lots of fun.
Yeah.
But some of it wasn't quite so nice. Yeah.
So the first few years in Wellington were good.
Yeah.
You guys?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. And the first few years back up in Auckland too, after we moved back up.
Back up. Did you reconnect with the old crew?
Everybody had sort of moved on, so everybody was getting married.
That little church was still there, was it?
No, I don't think it was at that stage.
Yeah.
I think that had gone. Everybody had got married, had children, different things, and it's kind of scattered as well. So, yeah. We did kind of re-establish friendships, but we basically just we did a lot of tripping down to see his family in Tauranga and things like that.
So did you look for a churchy home or a church family, or did you find one? Or
We half-heartedly looked,
yeah,
but we didn't. I tried a few places. Alex went to a few, and somebody said the wrong thing to him. That was crossed off the list. So yeah.
So he's still got his thing with the Lord?
Not that I'm aware of at that stage.
Okay.
I think I don't know whether it was killed whether I'd completely killed it
job.
or
Yeah. Careful,
but he would.
Sharon.
Yeah, exactly. Don't let it on. But
And was he working in Auckland?
he was working up till about 2008.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And after that, nothing much going on spiritually, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Until one day in 2015, I can remember vividly standing by the table, and I don't know what had triggered it.
Yeah.
But I was in my room and I was standing next to my side table.
Yeah.
And I just felt this cry go out from my heart going, God, something's got to change.
Oh, man, it's a deep...
It was deep.
Yeah.
It was so deep. That's the simplest language I can...
That was a long time coming up, though, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. I mean, we'd fought about him not working and I didn't appreciate what it was like for him being ill and not being able to do the things that he used to do either.
Yeah. So he's going through all that as well.
Yeah. And he could have had a more understanding wife, but you don't see it. And I guess my focus, I don't know whether that was the result of losing mum early or anything. I had always been fairly self-focused.
Self-contained,
and self-contained. So,
but through the self-containment, a cry emerged.
Yeah. And I didn't think a great deal of it at the time, but I knew that it was a prayer that had gone to heaven.
Ding, yeah.
Yep, ding, I'm here.
Yeah.
And, nothing changed in the next little while. And then one of the guys from a broker client of ours was resigning, and I said, and I knew my workmate was looking for another job, and I said to him, do you want me to ask about that job for you? And because I was going into the office to see them, and so I asked, and they said, do you want it?
Oh.
And so that's how I came to go back and work for the broker. But I was working for I'm working for an IT team.
You stole the job that you were going to get for your friend.
Yes.
What sort of friend are you?
Not a good one, apparently.
Were they okay with it?
Yeah, I think they understood.
So that's cool.
And what could I say?
Yeah. They wanted you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd been working in their office with them.
Yeah. So it was a good move, job-wise, career-wise?
Career-wise, yes. Job-wise, yes. Everything was good about it because several things got put in place.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. All right. So that's 2015. New job. Cries come up. Something's happening. Alex is getting worse, health-wise.
Yeah, slowly deteriorating. At first, not so noticeable, but eventually limited to what he could do. We stopped travelling.
Yeah. And at the same time, Rosie's having an epiphany with the Lord down on... Did you know much about what she was up to?
Yes, because loosely once she had met you and come into...
Which was probably about 2005 or
Yes,
something.
yeah, I think so. Yeah. They came up to Auckland and she was so different.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because she kept away from us for 5 years.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I
Patrick
know.
was coming along on his own.
Yes.
Poor guy. And we ended up doing an introductory course thing at Rosie's house. And I think your little sister came. To one of those.
Shelley, yeah.
Yeah.
She may have done, yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
So I remember that. But yeah, I think that's when Rosie realised that we didn't have two heads. Breathed out of our nostrils sideways.
Yeah.
So did you take much thought to that, or did that?
No, but I could see that she was more settled in herself. She was more relaxed and not so, you should do this, you know.
I've met her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
She's a powerhouse.
she is.
Yeah. But she was definitely chilled. And I said that's got your
Yeah.
attention. That's cool.
Yeah, it did. But I wasn't quite ready for it then. They gave me some Doug Fortune's tapes, things
'Cause
to listen to, and
you've got a new job. You got stuff going on.
yeah,
How much space you got up here for anything?
not a lot.
Not much. Eh?
No, it's getting less all the time.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. So then what happens?
So what happens then? So going to work for the broker has put in place several things that become necessary, which has just proved to me again about the Lord's provision.
So you can work from home a little bit and stuff like that.
Well, that was mainly due to COVID, but
Yeah.
but yes,
Yeah.
everything was set up.
Yeah.
We were ready to go. We could work from home.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of businesses didn't have that capability initially. But there were things in place like insurance.
Okay.
And just
cool.
prior, after the first wave of COVID,
Yeah.
towards the end of that year, in fact, Christmas week, I got diagnosed with lymphoma.
Nice.
A B-cell lymphoma, readily evident by a huge
really?
lump on my cheek where one of the lymph nodes had just...
What year was this?
This was the end of 2020.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Wow.
And so there was treatment, and before I'd even had the diagnosis, I'd been getting these letters from emails from the people that produce the Passion Translation,
Yeah.
and because I'd signed up for them, obviously,
Yeah.
and there was one that came out, and I hadn't been reading them, but I read this one, and it was, I'll be with you through this, whatever it is. I want to show myself strong on your behalf. So it's like the Lord speaking directly to me. And
That's awesome.
so I knew I was going to come out the other side. It wasn't going to be a bad result.
Oh, that's cool.
And
You needed something.
yeah, and so going in with that,
Yeah.
And if it hadn't been for the job and the insurance, then I probably wouldn't have been able to work the way I did through that period of treatment and recuperation.
So how long did that take, all that process?
It was about the treatment went till April the following year. I had the first treatment on New Year's, Christmas Eve, 2020, and the last one in April the following year, yeah.
And you had a bit of a peace because of that word through the whole thing?
I did, yeah.
That's magic.
And that had arrived at like the end of October, so it was, before the diagnosis even came.
Looking after you?
The firm looked after me fine. They just continued to pay me all the way through.
No way.
Yep.
Awesome.
And
Alex's health at this stage is...
still going downhill, but he's hiding a bit more from me.
Okay, so you don't realise how bad he is.
No, not a bit.
Yeah.
And we had been going to C3 Church as well at that stage because he'd been loosely involved with the guy who's running it in New Zealand, Dean Rush,
Yeah.
in earlier days when he'd made his Christian commitment. So,
Okay, cool.
yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So that's going on. That's going on.
That's going
And your
on.
spiritual walk yourself is not
No, I had...
dramatically, it's just been bubbling along.
I had been... I had recommitted.
Yeah.
and it was a serious recommittal because
Yeah.
and that was about 2018.
Yeah.
In 2019, I went to a sisters' conference,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and maybe it was 2018, and we started going to C3 Church after that. And
This is all post crying out to the Lord and
yes,
hunger still bubbling up.
and
In the midst of everything that's happening.
yes, and in the midst of COVID and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But we did form some what we thought were good relationships at the church, and got on well with people there. And Alex was doing sound and stuff like that. But then he was unable to do that.
Yeah.
And he felt like he was being pressured to come back and do. And in actual fact, we did. There was a little bit of pressure from the people about doing.
Well, when you're running stuff, there's always that.
Yeah, there is.
Jobs need to get done, and unfortunately.
Yes. Yeah. And they really wanted him to come back because he did the sound good.
He was good at it. Yeah. His problem was he was good at it.
He was good at it. Yeah.
He probably enjoyed it too, did he?
He did. Yeah. And he liked to show other people what he was doing.
That's
and
cool.
So
how long does that take to sort itself out? And it did sort itself out?
It did sort itself out, yes. I've been in remission for 3 years now.
Wow.
Nearly. Basically, after the first treatment, Alex said at the end of that day, he said, I can see it's gone down already.
Already?
And by the third week, because it was a 3-weekly thing, it was almost completely back to normal.
Were they expecting that, the hospital?
Yeah.
They were?
Yeah, they had said that they were completely...
They were pretty confident
that they could deal with it, yeah.
And overall health, did that knock your overall health?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I did have some recuperation to do.
Yeah.
Mainly physical.
Yeah.
Just from being knocked around. Brain, of course, chemo brain's a real thing.
Yeah.
And
a lot of people don't want to do it a second time.
No, but the one thing that did get knocked was really my resilience. So I had less tolerance in a work situation for the pressure that came on.
Okay. Yeah.
And so since then I have struggled with...
So when are you still operating?
Well...
When when you add it all up over the years, it's got a lot of stuff to walk through.
Yeah. But I've always just been a one step, just keep going.
That's what's kept you moving, Yeah. So then what happens? 2018.
So then remission.
Yeah.
COVID. Yeah. So don't really get back to work, and I'm at home, and Alex is getting worse. He
markedly worse at this point.
Yes, his kidneys were failing.
So you realise it's getting serious.
Yeah. And he didn't want dialysis. He was adamant that he wasn't going to have dialysis. And so he ended up 3 years in a row, he went into hospital to have the excess fluid drained out. And this last year was quite different. The previous 2 times he couldn't wait to get out. Yeah. And he would discharge himself early. Yeah. This time he was quite happy to stay there, and he was in for about a week. Yeah. He did discharge himself in the end because he didn't like the way they were talking to him. They weren't telling him stuff, and he felt like they didn't respect him. Yeah.
You're not going to want.
And they weren't talking to him like he knew what was going on.
So that he doesn't want to be in that environment.
No, and then somebody died one night, and he was like, "I'm out of here." After that, it wasn't a pleasant thing. There was just lots of yelling and stuff going on.
Yeah.
So he came home, and he had some energy, and because he was on steroids, basically, for the next few days, and tried to manage things. And we had 5 or 6 weeks, and then one night he just said, "I don't know what's wrong, I'm going to go to bed."
Yeah.
Couldn't lie down, couldn't keep clothes on. He went and had a shower, and was just sitting on the bed, and I didn't know what to do with him, what to do for him.
Crashing.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And prior to that, earlier in the week, he'd said to me, "Oh, I think your life's going to change very dramatically this year." And then he died.
Wow. At home.
At home.
Nice. Yeah.
While I was out getting the phone to phone the ambulance for him.
Yeah. And so your rosy life continues on its merry way.
Yeah.
Far out.
Yes, so that was interesting. Because Alex is Maori, or was Maori. There was a lot of apprehension on the white side of the family as to we don't want to put a foot wrong and offend anybody, and his relations, the women came and they were wonderful. They took charge, and basically we managed to work out a thing that suited both of us, but we had to bury him before we could have a service for him in Auckland. So I think that we all learnt a lot from that, and it was, and a crash course in protocol, Maori protocol for some of the family, and
good to be sensitive. You got to give respect.
Yes, definitely.
That's when we first met you. We came up to your place.
Yeah, that's right.
Because you'd been spying on us, watching our videos. Is that right?
Yeah, I've watched them all.
You've watched all of them, you poor thing.
I've got copious notes. I was really conscious that God was holding me up the whole time.
Yeah.
Because
you were so strong when we got there. I thought, oh, my God, this woman's coping real good.
Yeah. And
you're like the most calm person in the room.
I think it was all just going over my head, but yeah. I'm either the most deluded person there or God's holding me together. Yeah.
Because Deb had a word for you. We were driving up and I'm going, have you gone that? She goes, no. And then we get there and we went to pray with you. And the time I got in the room, she was already sharing a word, which was, I thought, it's a bit of a funny word. And you go, I know exactly what that is.
Yes.
That was a strange time. Yeah. How did you start watching the vids and stuff? When did that start?
I had, during the cancer treatment, obviously, with the time off and things, I had lots of time to look, and I tried watching some of Kelly's videos.
Yeah, from Tauranga.
I tried watching some other stuff.
Yeah.
There was one of him in South Africa, I think.
Yeah.
And I thought, where is this guy? He's all over the place. I couldn't understand it.
Yeah.
But during that time of recuperating and stuff, I had time to actually sit and go through it. And
you got to soak in a little bit, eh?
You do. I was pretty bamboozled until I think at the start of the 7th video, he does a summary of what he'd done previously, and that
to click.
Just fell into place.
Oh, that's cool. Because that's the way it is. It's like when I first heard him, it's like an avalanche, and you're trying to work out
which way up is.
Yeah, and then you realise that he's not on your level, And then, in hindsight, it was so simple what he was saying, but at the time it was just a bit much, because he was basically saying different stuff to what we'd heard.
Yeah.
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 So you started to hear a different sound at that time. through
Yes.
that.
And one thing I had noticed was that when I'd rededicated myself back in 2018,
Yeah.
the Bible started making more sense.
So stuff's you're unaware, but stuff's going on, and you're not even really aware.
Yeah. So I knew stuff was going on, and I used to go to work in the morning and sit on the bus
Yeah.
and listen to the same songs over and over again that were all
Because this
Christian
third day stuff,
stuff.
you either can hear it or you just can't hear it, and you obviously started to tune in.
yes, yeah.
So you could, like us, you couldn't always tell what it was, but you knew what it wasn't.
Yeah.
Things change.
Yes, and I'd always felt there was more. I just couldn't see why it was so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It had to be something wrong.
Yeah.
And so you start listening to that, and then you come across our stuff, did you?
No, Rosie had been keeping me up to date about the website and things.
Okay.
And things being posted. So right from I think
You weren't interested at that time, or?
No, I was still.
Yeah.
I don't know how long the website had been going, but I think when you started putting up the rest
Okay.
videos,
Okay.
that's where I started.
Okay. Yeah, I remember.
Because they were the first, weren't they?
I think it was because it was a series. It was in a subject in the first booklet that we wrote that I knew we had to expand, and so that was the first thing I think I did.
And I had that booklet. Patrick had given it to me.
Did that make any sense to you at the time, or probably made more sense then if you'd read it then?
Yeah.
Post Kelly.
Yeah. And he'd given me some other stuff as well and recommended some books. But I've since read a lot of the books that Kelly had brought up during the videos and so
well done.
Dived in boots and all.
Did you? You just knew that was where to go?
Yep.
Because isn't it funny? Your spirit knows what it wants. And when your spirit tunes into something, the brain's normally
Yep.
not on the same page.
No, not at all.
Gets dragged along.
That's why it took till this morning in the wee small hours to work out that it was the father figures that I was choosing that weren't cutting it as well. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. That's why these things are interesting, because you find themes and you basically you start to discern yourself a little bit better. Because when you're in the middle, you've been through a lot. When you're in the middle of that, all you're doing is coping and surviving and trying to do the best you can, plus have a life, hey, in the midst of it all. Yeah. So you're watching his stuff, you started watching our stuff, and you watched all of the videos we've done. It might be, there's probably a few hard case people that have done that, but that's pretty cool. But it's an amazing message.
It is. Yeah. It is, yeah.
Yeah, and it's an intimidating message because you start to talk about it. And you're talking about things that are marvellous, and it's hard to put into words.
Yeah.
Our thing was different. We'd had an encounter that was like boom, bam, and so we got to bounce out of that. Whereas you were like, you just like gently coming into it.
Yeah.
Different approach.
Yes, very much. I was waiting for the boom bang.
Yeah, they're good. But, it doesn't really matter how you get there, as long as you get there, eventually. But, yeah, I love encounters and I love all that stuff. Well, you're just a Holy Ghost junkie. Yeah.
Yeah. I have to say that I didn't say this earlier when it would have fitted better probably, that I was really aware that God ordered my steps, even if I wasn't particularly listening to him.
No.
At the important points.
Yeah.
I moved in the right direction. But when my daughter was adopted, I had been hanging out with my cousin's youth group, like I said, and the youth group leader was a friend of her adoptive father.
Oh.
So they, between my aunt
Sorted it.
and No, they didn't sort the adoption. It was actually done through
Yeah.
social welfare at the
Right.
time. But God had it all in hand. My daughter used to go and sit on my aunt's garden wall waiting to be picked up from school. And my aunt would talk to her. So
Right.
she was watching her grow up.
No way.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And when she was 22, she got in touch and we've met. And she, yeah. So she's lovely and she fits into the family and she looks like the rest of us girls, the four of us. She's just
She
the
could be
fifth one.
same pod.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Hallelujah. All right, so spiritually now you're aware there's more, there's another day. You've been through a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And this is all pretty recent. Alex, how long ago was that?
That was June last
June
year.
last year. So,
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
it's recent. And then you decided that you were going to leave Auckland.
Yeah.
How did you come to all that?
I think the main thing was that I got used to having the family close again,
Yeah,
even though it was only that short time after
yeah,
he died. And then with you guys moving down here,
yeah.
I was aware Rosie and Patrick were going to follow you. So, and I thought, had you not, I would have moved to
Tauranga would
Tauranga.
have been awesome. I remember, I did think someone did say that. So you were just keen to
Yeah.
just to have some fellowship and hang out. And,
Yeah. So once they knew they were moving, then it was all on, and there was no sense in sort of holding it up or waiting. And
Probably not.
yeah,
So you managed to build a relationship with me and Deb and the rest of the crew via the internet.
via the internet, all unbeknownst to you.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And then I think you started sending money regularly, and I thought, what? How did this happen? But it's powerful, isn't it?
It is powerful,
Yeah.
and it made more sense to me. It's given me more.
Yeah.
The message has given me more, and the relationship, I believe, is stronger, with Jesus. And
Yeah. It's because I've shared this stuff for years with people, but you have to soak because there's so much change has to happen, and you try and bring all your bits and pieces with you, and hardly any of them fit.
yeah,
They're the old thoughts and structures, and even about yourself. It's all got to
yes,
change.
yeah.
Oh yeah, so that's cool. So you watched them from the start.
Yeah, I've tried to follow all the good advice given on them.
So much. I can't even remember all that we've done, but I can remember the series. And I remember, we don't ever sort of make up a teaching thing, but there hasn't been one that I haven't done that I haven't thought had something valuable. Otherwise you wouldn't do them. But the Lord said, they're good news. And people need to hear some good news. This is a great day. So it's been kind of cool. I love it, the fact that you just did it on your own. Via the internet, just you and the Lord, and you managed to work it out on your own. No one told you, no one forced you, no one tricked you. You just managed to make all your own decisions about it,
Yeah,
which is very good stuff.
yeah. And the thing was that I'd talk about it with Alex, and that's how I came to understand his relationship.
Okay, so he was in there somewhere.
He was in the backgrounds because he'd already arrived at a lot of that
So it made
information.
more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, you meet people and they have this organic relationship with the Lord, and they don't really fit the normal structures, but when you start to look at things from a different point of view, oh, God loves people.
Yep.
He knows how to relate to them.
Yeah.
He wants to talk to them.
And he didn't read the Bible a lot, but he had some special revelation about Genesis that he just amused everybody with. But his main thing was when he got to Moses, and Moses was called a friend.
Oh, he loved that.
He loved that.
See,
Yeah.
that's it. Sometimes you just need one line. Hey, and that
Yeah.
will do.
Yep.
You build your life on it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. That's beautiful. Yeah, and so here you are.
Here I am.
Now you're making video.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe, if we put it out, eh?
Yeah.
So we got to this point, been through a lot. Ploughman doesn't plough
Yep.
forever. New stage, new season, new anointing, new kairos, new environment, new friends, all this sort of stuff. What's next for you? Do you have any idea?
Not a lot. I feel like this is a time, I don't want to say catch up,
Yeah.
but a crash course maybe in third day, just to get it deeper.
There's something about being around others.
Yes.
It's super helpful.
Yeah, there's others that are carrying the
And it's not.
the message.
Yeah, and it's about releasing what's in you. Like, you know all our sons because you watch all our videos. Come for a day, come for a weekend, come for a month, until you get a breakthrough, until you get until something happens. And we've had people do all those things. Come for a year. Some people come for a weekend and then over the weekend. So I'm expecting you to have like really a breakout at this time for you.
That would be good.
Yeah.
I've come to see that because we had to move a couple of years ago, that where we were when Alex passed away was like that was a transition period for me.
Yeah.
And so this is the solidification, I guess, of all the stuff that had come before that I'd learnt.
There's a bunch of people, like us included. It's like, a storybook. You it's almost like you don't close a chapter, you close the whole book. And it's time for a new book.
Yeah.
That's what we feel like.
That's what I'm feeling.
And I think you need a new book.
Yep.
And like introduction, chapter 1, away we go.
Yep.
Because, thank God for the story.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank God for the life. Thank God for the keeping power of God. And thank God you got to where you got to. Pretty much on your own. Hey, I wasn't ringing you saying watch the videos.
No, you weren't.
And you know how many phone calls I sent you? Was it 1?
2?
2. Over about 3 years. Such a communicator.
Oh.
Yeah. But I'm going to, So, we're excited about you coming. We believe this is good for you. And we believe you're going to really find yourself in the spirit. It's super important to know who you are and what you're carrying so you can take your spot.
Yep.
Because you're not going to happy to be sitting watching.
No.
You're going to get bored. Hey, you want to be, if you're going to do it,
Yep.
do it.
Yep.
Hey. And so, lots transpired. So anyway, I'm going to shamelessly use this opportunity. I was praying this week and the Lord said to me, praying about Jesus now, and he goes, put out the welcome mat, or there's a welcome mat out. And I thought, okay, what do I do with that? And I wasn't really sure, but when we talked about doing your video, you're a person that we connected to without even knowing we were connecting, and all the people that would come. So we just welcome you, like with open arms. And whether you're here and with us for a month or 6 months or a year, who knows? But this time's cool.
Yep.
I just wanted to stay on the video. And we did a thing me and Hannah did a thing on relationships, spiritual relationships. And then we did a thing on old structures. And, but today, with the internet, it's a global community.
Yep.
And you connected to us without ever meeting us. So these guys watching that watch our vids, they're family and we never even met them. So, I felt to extend an invitation out to people to join. It doesn't mean to say you got to come physically, but knit hearts, find out who you're supposed to be connected to, connect to those people. I remember a third day guy came through, well-known guy, not Kelly, another guy. And someone said, how do we get into this stuff? And he says, get connected, connect to a source, find an apostolic source, connect to people. And it's all about relationship. And you can have one. Hey, I've got buddies in America that I feel totally connected to. I don't need to see them physically, but if we ever do meet physically, it's like it's already there,
Yeah.
already family.
Yeah.
So anyway, you guys anybody out there lost looking for a church family, you can join ours. And the good thing is you don't even have to come. You can stay hidden and you can be someone awesome in the background. All right. Bless you, Sharon.
Thank
you
you.
for that. You happy with that?
Yeah.
10 minutes? Is that what you told me you were going to do?
Yeah, maybe 20
Maybe 20. That was at least quarter of an hour, wasn't it?
at least.
Yeah. Awesome. And we didn't cry. I nearly cried once, but maybe twice. But I managed to.
You held it back
I
well.
held it back well. All right. Bless you, girl.
Thank you.
All right.
Baby, we're